So let's dive on into some North American games as we start on the bottom left-hand side. The blue Protoss is Creature.
And up in the right-hand side of the map, we have the red Terran player. He is MaSa.
Oh, that's some funky music.
Yeah,
like
that's something that Maynard would listen to on his stream.
Yeah.
99% sure. You know, Maynard used to be in a band.
I feel like people tell me this all the time. I'm like,
yeah,
that does not surprise me in the slightest.
I know. There's always, there's always fun facts about all the random like casters that a lot of people don't know about. Like today is Katz's birthday. I thought that was a fun one. Go wish him happy birthday, guys.
Tell me more, Fear Dragon. You've got me interested. What's my
Katz's shoe size? I don't know Katz's shoe size. You know what? If I had to guess, I'd peg him as a size 9.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Katz does have some really cool shoes, though.
I mean, that's hard for me to figure out because US and UK shoe sizes are different. So it's
Oh, you know what? I never thought about it, but yeah, we always have like all the different regions listed.
Which is useful.
What was the point of that? Like, why on earth are shoe sizes listed as different between two different regions?
I guess because they started making shoes in one region, and then the other region started making shoes, and then later on they decided to make shoes.
North America, for example, pretty much most of the people in North America came from Europe. And it's not like they didn't have shoes back then.
I mean, it's like why in America do you call the ground floor the first floor?
Because it's the first floor, Wardy.
But well, I mean, there you go though. That's just another
I can't do this with you right now. All right, so we have a normal looking opening. We got a good old Reaper expand here from MaSa. He's going to be adding on that factory. No proxies or anything. MaSa's kind of, for a very long time, it was like the king of proxies. I dare say I think that MaSa started proxying before Maru did. In like large amounts, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like that's just kind of like MaSa through and through. Is this Reaper gets 2 probes already? That is not a good start for Creature, but he does have the Reaper stuck in, so maybe MaSa getting a bit greedy, because now he will not have any scouting potential on the fact that this is a Twilight. And the Adept across the map gets 1 SCV, the other is going to go down just before the CC is done.
Yeah, that's actually a nice pick off there for Creature. Kind of equalizes a little bit of that damage he just took by losing 2 probes to the Reaper in exchange for sending that Adept out so far. Almost actually manages to get a bit of damage done over there to both the Marine and the SCV. Adept is going to go ahead and escape on out and continue to shade forward, trying to be annoying. Oh, is he going to go for this again?
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense, right? You get yourself trapped. There's 3 Marines. It's much nice to keep the Adept alive, especially just that little bit of extra damage in certain scenarios, defensively, or even just watching for a larger push out on the map, right? This Adept will just sit here for the moment, so a couple good reasons to keep it alive, as we do have the Robo starting up at home. Creature just 2 gates, blink opener, very similar to what we saw in the PvT earlier between Showtime and Clem, if you guys were watching in Europe, where it's just a very safe defensive opener, puts you in a good position, and allows you to take a fast third Nexus, as MaSa, though, will make this a bit different with that armory.
Yeah, MaSa has been loving, and I feel like a decent number of Terran players, but MaSa especially has been loving these Armory Widowmine drops, just because I think it catches or forces some Protoss players that don't quite go for the Observer as quickly to just get up some detection, to deal with those Widowmine drops a little bit faster, to have a harder time cleaning things up. There's the medevac going to be loaded up with 3 of those Widowmines, and we'll see how on point Creature's reaction is, because again, this is one of those situations, I hate to bring it up, but Creature is somewhat newer to playing on like really big broadcasts and big streams. So nerves do have a bit of an effect. And, you're not always as on point as you want to be. Sometimes you just kind of miss some of those things on the minimap.
Well, let's see. It's going to be a pretty easy start. The medevac just flies right over all the Stalkers. And that's an immediate response. 1 probe and the hallucination trying to set off the other Widowmine. I mean, the Widowmine will burrow again, but the hallucination will just do the same thing. You still need some detection here, though, because of that armory. So, he gets 2 probes. It's not terrible, but losing the medevac that quickly means, especially when 3 Widowmines, it means you've got no follow-up. You know, you don't get to save one mine and maybe be a threat, and it really should mean that Creature can get on the map with these Stalkers because there's nothing else coming from MaSa anytime soon.
Yeah, you know, Wardy, I have to kind of say to MaSa, like, that was one of the most overconfident angles I've seen a Widowmine drop come in from. Like, I've seen Widowmine drops come in from the right-hand side of the main base, from the third base over. I've seen them come in from, like, around the ramp area of the main base. I've never seen someone boost straight through the center between the bases of the, like, in the natural, go over the entire area where the army is usually standing, and then try and drop in. That was a pretty bold maneuver.
Yeah, it was definitely a bit of a unique one. Definitely, I don't really.
Which I think is why MaSa was hoping that would work, is that it is so unique.
Well, yeah, actually, if you think about it, if you went in a more normal angle, the Stalkers would have been completely out of position. So
yeah,
in a way, he kind of made it more difficult for himself.
Yeah, but I mean, I honestly think that is MaSa. If I had to describe MaSa's playstyle, like, that's MaSa in a nutshell. MaSa is the kind of guy who will say, think 8 levels deep and catch his opponent, but sometimes his opponent is not thinking 7 or 6 levels deep. They're still thinking on the 3rd level, and then MaSa just kind of plays himself.
Is that the 3rd level of American floors or like English floors?
There's only one type of floor, 40. Starts on the 1st level. No one starts on level 0, okay?
You're so American.
Yes, I am American.
I know.
What's your point? This is the North American region.
Such a finalizing statement.
I'm allowed to be American, all right? Nice pickoffs over here for Creature, but these Marines are spotting out that the Stalkers are making their way across the map right now.
I mean, this is what you meant to be doing, right? Get these Stalkers out. There's no real pressure across the map from MaSa, so what is there to keep Stalkers back for? I actually love that Creature just says, you know what, feeling good. Take my extra gases already, drop down that Storm upgrade. He just techs straight up from this, so just feels really good about his spot. Feels like he can, you know, kind of bypass like kind of the gateway heavier phase and just go into that heavy tech, which is nice to see. He keeps himself short for a bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, when you not only don't take too much damage from the Widowmine drop, but you even manage to kill off the medevac, it really does shut down the Terran player's ability to just be hyper aggressive super early on. But now the combat shields and stim are both done. We're gonna end up seeing MaSa starting to move on out. He's gonna try and catch some of these Stalkers. Creature loses a Stalker over there, but I mean, he's getting some decent pickoffs, chipping away at this army. He's gonna go for a siege tank over here. I'm not sure if he's gonna be able to get that nice pickup micro there from MaSa. Gets a Stalker in exchange too.
Yeah, it was pretty close, right? But then the tank goes in the medevac and it's not really close at all. This is a scary push, but Storm will be done for it. Widowmine's burrow into the back with Drilling Claws already done. Forcing those probes away, and that takes Creature's attention away completely, so MaSa gets up this ramp. Sims the Natural hasn't seen the High Templar yet, I don't think. Sees them now at the tail end of the scan, and he is just going to kite away and trade this out, but it means his tanks are exposed. They will fall, but he is actually getting a pretty good trade on the right side, and he's not really looking to use tanks in the future either. He is continuing with the Widowmine production off the factory.
And Creature is doing a really great job. He's going to end up losing these 2 High Templars. He softens up a little bit the army, but getting the Warp Prism is at least a little bit of a snag there for MaSa. Still, Creature's going to be so happy with how this game has been going. He has deflected MaSa left and right, and now he just pushed back the entire army and taking a massive lead. He's pushing across the map confidently.
Yeah. I actually think he has something of a chance to go up this ramp and make things happen, right? He's still got the Prism on the right side. He gets a catch as well. Medevac shut down, so no more pressure from MaSa across the map. Still, as we're going to be seeing, Creature really has opportunity right now, and he's in a position to do this off 4 bases. 4th base just started with a 3 CC just now moving into location from MaSa. So yeah, Creature should be feeling really good. He absolutely is, and wow, he just what a way to start this off here, Dragon. This is not how I was expecting this to be the setup.
Yeah, I don't think it's how MaSa expected it either. Widowmines are going to be going off on top of some of these Zealots. A lot of them already going down, but there are plenty more where those came from. Widowmine's still going to be pretty important, and they're getting some pretty decent connections on these Zealots, cleaning up a lot of them. But again, there's just so many reinforcements here. Creature just has an overwhelming number, and he hasn't even factored in the Storms just yet.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be crazy difficult to hold off. The SCVs pull away from the 3rd. I mean, the 3rd is just straight up dying. The Stormers here to maybe finish it off. Storms get to the front and pushes MaSa back, and yeah, Creature has played a great first game. And he's going to come in with a little bit of an upset here to start our series.
Yep, Final Storm is being used. The blink forward creature going up 1-0 versus the one true Maru. Hot damn.
That was really, really cool. Just, I mean, it all starts when MaSa A invests into the armor, and then he does nothing with the Widow Mine drop. And then obviously the follow-up attack kind of gets cleaned up quite heavily as well. Creature just never took major damage, had a really good army to go across the map, and he got away with being greedy, right? Because he kills that first Widow Mine drop, he already gets that Storm up super fast, so he has that in preparation for MaSa's push, and that obviously makes it really difficult for MaSa to do much there. And you see MaSa struggling to take a third base, and yeah, just Creature got himself in a good spot and really identified how he could play that position out and go from there.
Yeah, and I do want to, like you already kind of said, put that back to the Widowmine drop being so ineffective, and the angle that MaSa tried to go in with that Widowmine drop. I feel like that was just, it put a lot on the line there. And I got to commend Creature. He played really, really excellently from there, taking advantage of his situation. You were mentioning him doing the quick tech up as well as a response to the fact that, hey, well, you went for this and I killed off your medevac. There's no way you can be aggressive for at least a little bit because you also need to tech up and do things. So I'll use my stalkers to buy space and just do a very fast tech up to Storm. I think that worked out beautifully. I do think that MaSa, as long as he's not feeling too perturbed by that loss, I feel like he can switch up his game plan a bit and probably still look pretty good though.
No, for sure. As we actually start off in the bottom right-hand side, our Red Terran player looking to bounce back is MaSa.
And up here in the top left-hand side of the map, we have the blue Protoss player, Adam Block. It is Creature. Would you say that he was doing a great job of blocking off MaSa's attacks?
I would say that, yes.
Okay, cool.
I was just going to say, though, to kind of follow up your point about MaSa and, that first game and kind of going into game two, I totally think MaSa looks at this and he says, well, hey, it's easy to identify why I really messed up, right? And it's really easy for me to say, okay, well, actually, just going to go a little bit different. Maybe I don't need the armory. I can play a little bit more, without being as committed to the Widow Mine drop initially and stuff like that. And I know that may not be MaSa's usual style, but he's good enough to just play a more passive style and to play the games out like that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I feel like, MaSa, he's had a bit of a rough run in this group and everything, but at the end of the day, I still feel like MaSa is MaSa. And I feel as though his last series where he was able to beat Disc, it shows that MaSa still kind of got it, especially in this matchup and everything. Disc is a really solid North American Protoss player who I honestly would rank above Creature a bit. So I do think that MaSa can just, like you said, play a bit more of a normal game and probably come out a bit ahead.
No, for sure. Let's see how it sets up. Obviously, both players expanding here early on in game number 2. Not really anything to talk about there. Just yet, Adept will start up pretty quickly off the Cyber Core. Warp Gate gets going. And the SCV across the map. It is maybe worth mentioning no Reaper, right? So MaSa says, I'm not going to be able to find a scout on this map with the wall off, etc. So I'm going to skip the Reaper, just go Marine into Reactor, and that will give him a few more Marines than usual, and that does create some very scary pushes where there's just a bit more firepower than what the Protoss player might be expecting. Plus, it's 50 gas saved, so it's also a faster factory.
Yes, indeed, and that factory is going to be finishing any second now. In the meanwhile, we do have a typical Twilight Council opening behind this for Creature. And again, Creature is it especially was back in the day, and I think has diversified a bit, but he still, in my mind, is one of the typical visions of a Protoss player that doesn't do the super big all-in cheeses and everything. Maybe he'll do a few mix-ins here and there, but he likes to play macro games. And as I say that, there is a proxy pile on Wardy, so I feel like Creature's showing a little bit of the evolution he's had over the past few years.
Yeah, he's going to proxy up a Dark Shrine. You know what? You're up a game. You've got nothing to lose. And in fairness, DTs have been really, really good in PvT lately as well. I need not remind you all of Zest just Dark Shining everybody for the last couple of months. So I like it, I love that he opens up the series playing macro and playing confident, but now it's actually his series to play with, and it's the sort of thing that MaSa could just fall to very quickly to create a huge upset in this group.
I completely agree with you, Wardy. I really like this decision from Creature. Nice for MaSa to get the snipe off on the Adept. That is going to shut down a bit of that vision and also potentially open up MaSa to go for one of those big tank pushes or something. He's already got that first tank on out. I also just want to note that if Creature is going to add on a gateway at that proxy location, if he's looking to add on more gateways and go for kind of like the I guess he's not going to do it now because he would have already gotten up charge. I was going to say the charge line DT all in was also a really, really strong contender against specifically marine tank styles. But looks like it's just going to be the regular old DTs.
Yep, I'm going to warp in over this far left-hand side. They've got a little bit of a walk to go to get across the map. I wouldn't have minded maybe seeing a somewhat closer of a pylon, but hey, at least he added the gateway on, right? So I guess that helps out. And MaSa right now has one scan just now available. Really important to watch that CC. But it doesn't matter. His army's actually moving out anyway, so the DTs are going to get in. This is really bad because you're going to have to use scans at home or lose a lot of workers. Obviously, DTs can warp in aggressively against that army that's pushing across the map too, and this is really bad for MaSa. He needs to like almost win the game with that push he's got going across the map.
Okay, well, the scan in the main base is actually really, really big because he catches that with the SCVs and is now going to at least be able to get up a missile turret guaranteed in his main base, and he will not be able to mine from his natural for a bit, but he's down to 23 workers anyways right now, Wardy. This is all just about repairing, holding in the main base until the missile turret finishes, and then getting the push to effectively do nearly game-ending damage. And remember, Creature does not have a whole lot behind this. He needs to be able to hold on here. Use those SCVs to build a missile turret. That is, I think, so important to do behind this.
That's a really interesting time to pop battery overcharge. I'm not really convinced about it. Missile turret coming up defensively makes sense. He's going to pull the pros because he knows he can kind of afford to as long as he just holds this attack. But the Immortal has to get rid of the siege tank. It's being repaired, and the Prism will have to save it most likely in the next few moments. He does get the tank and save the Immortal. That could be massive. That could be his way to save this push. But he took so much damage in the process that it might just be the case that MaSa's been able to even this out.
I think he's starting to, right? Because if you look back on the other side of the map, the DTs are no longer denying mining in the natural expansion either. We do have a tech lab going up on the starport already for MaSa, so he's going to have a Raven out pretty soon. And that means that the DT potential is going to go down. Creature took a lot of damage, and normally a Protoss player wants to be up on workers. Right now, he's tied. That's a really bad spot.
I kind of go back to that battery overcharge time, and I wonder if he saves the battery overcharge for a few more moments and gets his couple of zealots warped in, if he doesn't have to lose as many probes. It's really scary, right? Because obviously MaSa's getting set up and everything, but if you just lose a few less probes in this, you're still in a really good spot. As it stands, like I say, I still don't mind it for Creature, because MaSa's also very low on tech, right? It's not like he has stim pack or anything. He just has combat shields. So MaSa's still not able to kind of move out with a larger, more aggressive bioforce anytime soon, and Creature has a Prism to harass with. So I kind of like where Creature's at. I just love it that much more if you just had those few extra probes still alive.
No, I'm definitely with you there. I feel like the battery overcharge definitely ended up being not the best timing. Hey, Immortal plus DTs, that's a lot of firepower, Wardy, and that's going to guarantee a kill on Stim.
That's actually, look how much MaSa knows he needs to restart this. He goes straight to the tech lab the factory was on, and he says, yep, I just need to start this up again immediately. It's, it's a really big denial. There's no other way about it. Denies the gas as well. This is really good damage here, as he will have to lift up and leave now. But really nicely done. Costs him nothing at all. It really does just slow that Terran army from feeling confident out on the map, which gives Creature even more time to do his own little thing.
Yeah, I also love that Creature pulled out at exactly that moment, because that Raven was a few seconds away from getting an interference matrix up. If it gets that up and then suddenly the War Prism gets interference matrix, it can't pick up those units anymore. Immortal plus 2 DTs, that's a really expensive loss Creature does not want to have happen right now. But now the Viking is out. MaSa should have an easier time pushing back that army, although a single Archon might be able to at least complicate things. This is a really funny War Prism composition. Immortal Archon in a War Prism is a really costly, expensive drop, but they kind of complement each other really well.
Yeah, it actually kind of works against Terran, right? You get the Archon to splash damage, then you get the Immortal to do some follow-up shots. The Viking, for a moment, I thought the Viking was going to get the kill. The Order turret's there. The Prism will go down. The Archon survived. Good recall. puts it down immediately, did not falter at all. And he most importantly got the units out of the prism as well before he recalled, because otherwise, if you're recalling with the units in the prism, that prism's going down, right? So really well handled by Creature. So good from MaSa to put him in that position where he had to respond to it, and it removes that threat from the map.
Well, MaSa is finally going to be finishing Stim, but I mean, look at that. Stim finishing around the time that Psystorm is almost 25-40% done. That is brutal. Well, Raven actually does find a Warp Gate and the Dark Shrine, so could potentially at least take care of that, reduce the potential for those DT backstabs later on once MaSa finds an opportunity to move on out. But for now, looks like the Raven is just looking for some auto turret harassment, which, you know, Creature is very well prepared for now.
Yeah, that Dark Shrine kills would be really nice, just to take away the possibility of more DTs in play. Because DTs are always going to be forcing scans and stuff, and if the Raven goes down, suddenly you need to scan in your army as well. So it is nice to just get rid of that and know it's been, you know, removed from play. I will say one thing is that I really a little bit worried about Creature not having any Forge on the map. And I know it's only +1 attack right now from MaSa, but it's going to get to a point where MaSa gets more and more of an upgrade lead if Creature doesn't move into Forges. So I kind of wonder what Creature's plan is, because at the moment he's kind of building probes, he's saturating the 3 bases, but it almost feels like he might just be like, cool, let's just go off of like 8 gateways or something and just kind of try and bust you, and that's why I don't need the Forge.
Yeah, and I suppose the idea here also is that if you're heavily relying on just really big storms and you got the High Templars, then technically you don't need upgrades to make Psystorm damage happen. But oh my god, the double drop. 1 drop gets picked up immediately. MaSa a little bit on autopilot mode, loses a bunch of Marines and the medevac. Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, that's not pretty. And as soon as Creature shuts this down, he's like, wow, that's good for me. Drops double Forge. He's like, yeah, I kill off a full medevac, a few Marines on top, and I can afford to go upgrades. I'm not going to die to push anytime soon. And that might be why he's afraid of that double Forge or a Forge before now, because he's like, oh, I'm in trouble. If he all-ins me onto your base or something, I may be dead. So yeah, being able to kill that off gives him a lot of hope. And if he had Blink, he probably would have been both the medevacs. So MaSa is a little bit fortunate on that front.
Yeah, Blink is just now finishing up. I do want to know, Creature's got a solid gas bank that he's finally going to be expending on a lot more High Templar. He's going up to 8 now, so this is going to become pretty brutal. Immediately morphs them into more Archons. Those Widow Mines are going to be an important, crucial part of MaSa's push over here. They really need to be able to soften up not just the Zealots, but also soften up those Archons in order for him to really take on this army.
Feels scary relying on Widow Mines, though. The reason we see Ghosts introduced so quickly nowadays in PvT compositions. The Widow Mines will get good connections, but the Storms are coming down as well, so the Storms are pretty good. Creature will continue to chase. He's going to get the medevacs thanks to the little speed boost through there, and everything bar 2 Marauders goes down, and there's nothing else around the map for MaSa. He's down 20 supply. If Creature moves forward, and he's actually getting a couple extra kills. I mean, MaSa's coming forward, maybe just to try and greet this a little bit. Creature, the one issue is he has no prism.
Observer goes down as well, so he can't actually see the Widow Mines for a moment, but I don't think that's going to deter him all that much right now. He's still looking for an opportunity to move in. This supply depot wall is definitely going to help out a lot. Siege tank even behind it. The Zealots use their charge to try and go through this narrow choke point. Oh, I'm not sure how I feel about this one, but the Storms changed my mind, Wardy. My god, that is one hell of a way to pull this back.
The Storms were really, really good. I mean, Creature maybe could have blinked the Stalkers on the tanks a bit faster. Those tanks are the issue, but also the wall off. The Archons did nothing in this fight. They just sat fighting depots. They weren't a part of dealing damage to this army, and if they were, Creature might have just broken through there. He's about to have 1-1, so upgrades are evening up for a few short moments just before the +2 attack of MaSa is done. But that might be the opportunity for Creature to get up there and to go for this. He needs to come from the left side, though, because that's where there's no wall-off or less of a wall-off. And even then, it's kind of tough. There's so many Widow Mines set up here already. The Zealots are going to start charging through. He kind of decides against it. He might just try and sit back and go for the 4th base, but now he pushes through. Good Storms to stop, and the Ghosts just aren't hitting anything with the EMPs.
They do finally manage to find a couple of the High Templars with EMPs, but there's just so few bio units left over. I think that 1 or 2 more EMPs on those Archons could make a world of difference. If he was able to kill off the Warp Prism, MaSa needs some kind of victory here, and he's just not finding it. Down 50 supply. Creature already up 1-0. My god, Wardy, is Creature about to pull up a massive upset here?
huge upset, right? I mean, this was not what anybody was expecting. Maybe if he eked something out 2-1, but 2-0 in dominant fashion wasn't even, it was macro focused, right?
Yeah.
After the cheesy start of game 2, this turned into a pretty even game, and MaSa made a few too many